I never imagined that a single lie could dismantle everything I had built. There was no grand plan to betray anyone. I didn't go out searching for another man. I just needed distance, some air between me and the man I used to feel safe beside. I wanted to step outside the stale rhythm of our marriage, away from the heavy silence that seemed to hang in every corner of our home. So, when Eric asked what my plans were for Friday night, I told him I had dinner plans with Kate from work. He accepted the answer without hesitation, didn't even press for details. That quiet indifference pierced deeper than any accusation would have. But the truth was far messier. I had agreed to meet someone. A man named Daniel, who I'd first spoken to at a conference a couple of months earlier. At first, our messages were purely professional, emails exchanged about projects and industry talk. Then jokes slipped in. Stories followed. Eventually, secrets. I convinced myself it was harmless. Just words on a screen. Nothing real. Not until he came into town and suggested we grab a drink. And I said yes, too quickly. We chose a low-key bar tucked into a quiet corner of downtown. The kind of place people go when they don't want to be seen. The lighting was dim, the music soft, the booth shadowed. We sat close enough to brush elbows. We laughed harder than the jokes deserved. At some point, his hand grazed mine, and the space between us filled with something electric, something I hadn't felt in years. I can't tell you exactly what I was searching for. Maybe validation. Maybe tenderness. Maybe just a temporary way out. Whatever it was, I buried the guilt deep and leaned in. It was during our second drink that the atmosphere shifted. A sudden chill crept up my spine, the unmistakable sense of being watched. I turned my head and froze. At the far end of the bar stood Eric. He wasn't angry. His face didn't twist with rage. Instead, it held something worse, complete and quiet heartbreak. Our eyes locked, and time seemed to collapse around us. My breath caught. I stood so fast that my chair nearly toppled behind me. Daniel looked up, confused. He had no idea who Eric was. But I did. And I knew right then that nothing would be the same. I tried to speak, to explain something, anything, but Eric had already turned and started walking away. I ran after him, heels tapping against the pavement, adrenaline pounding through my chest. I caught him just as he was unlocking the car. "Eric, wait. Please," I called out, desperate to stop him. He didn't turn to face me. "Don't," he said softly. "Just don't." "I wasn't. It's not what you think," I stammered. The words came out hollow, meaningless even to my own ears. Then he looked at me. Really looked at me. His eyes were wet, distant, lost. "You told me you were with Kate," he said. Not angrily. Just broken. The emptiness in his voice hit harder than any scream ever could. He got in the car and drove away. I didn't go back inside the bar. I didn't say a word to Daniel. I walked to my car and sat there in silence, staring at nothing. That one sentence kept looping in my mind like a cruel chant. "You told me you were with Kate. You told me you were with Kate." When I got home, his keys were still on the hook, his clothes still in the closet, but he was gone. No note. No message. Just silence. A suffocating kind that screamed louder than any confrontation ever would. I didn't sleep that night. I couldn't. I lay awake, going over everything, wondering how it had come to this, wondering if I had already lost him long before that night. The next morning, I sent him a text. "Please come home. Let me explain." He didn't reply. When I tried calling, it went straight to voicemail. I even reached out to Kate, hoping she'd cover for me, but it was pointless. Eric had already spoken to her. My lie had burned through every last lifeline. Days turned into weeks. Finally, I got a message from him. Just one line. "I've moved into a short-term rental. Only reach out if it's about legal issues or the house." I read that message over and over, my chest tightening around a scream I couldn't get out. Food lost its taste. Sleep became a stranger. My world shattered beneath me, each step cutting like glass. I drafted countless apologies. I never sent them. I thought about finding him, going to wherever he was staying. But I couldn't. I didn't have the right. I didn't deserve a second chance. Months slipped by. He filed for separation with quiet finality. There were no dramatic confrontations, no shouting matches, no scenes. That was never his way. His revenge came in the form of absence, of erasure. He simply deleted me from his life, as though I had never been his wife, never shared a home, never shared a heart. And maybe that's what truly broke me. Not the end of our marriage, but that moment in the bar, when he looked at me like I was a stranger. Like the woman he once loved no longer existed. And maybe he was right. Maybe I didn't know who that woman was anymore either. Now I live with that moment burned into my memory. One lie, one glance across a crowded room that brought down the world I thought I needed a break from. I traded honesty for a brief escape and lost the only man who had ever loved me fully, even when it was hard, even when it hurt. And the worst part is, I'll never get that look back.